Happy New Year, guys, and welcome to Scorched Earth Tarot. I'm going to do something a little different to usual, and it's only for this round of readings, so bear with me. And I'm recording this as an intro to all of the videos that I'm doing for the beginning of January. If this isn't your bag and you want to skip straight to the reading, have a look at the timestamp in the comment box down there. And the chances are, if you need to skip ahead to the reading without listening to what I had to say, then you're probably not the people that this is addressed to anyway. So it's fine. No shade, and I'm not even slightly offended. You know, you do you. It's all cool. But I have a few things that I wanted to say, and I kind of feel quite strongly that I do need to say this. The first off, I want to express extreme gratitude for waiting for me, because I know that these readings are late, and I'm very grateful to you for that. But also just for being here and joining me. The last 6 months have been a bit of a wild ride, and my life has changed in quite a lot of ways, and you guys are definitely part of that, and I don't think that you quite have any idea how much you've changed my life, so I love it. The reason the videos are late is because Christmas holiday was quite enlightening for me in a lot of ways, as well as the usual stresses and pressures of, you know, the holiday season and whatnot, and having, you know, 5 children, and trying to make special that time, as special as possible that time. I also had some fairly extreme kind of planetary stuff going on, which I wasn't really aware of until it was brought to my attention, and I was quite oblivious to the effects of right up until about, I don't know, the turn of the year. And then it all hit me in kind of like 48 hours. So Peter, if you are watching, all the stuff that you told me suddenly made all sorts of sense. It was kind of an ascension of sorts, and I was panicking a little bit about getting the videos uploaded and all that kind of thing. And then it struck me that what I actually really needed to do was rest and kind of recover from the transformations that had been occurring. So I took time to do that, and I'm sorry if these videos being late negatively affects anyone, but I feel like you will probably understand. So thank you. What else do I have to tell you? I think that's probably just about everything. But I wanted to just record the intro and say, you know, thank you so much for waiting, for subscribing, for watching, for your donations, for your personal reading bookings. And I kind of got slammed with those over Christmas as well. There was a period of about a week where I was getting 15, 20 requests a day, and I am going to work my way through all of those. But with everything else that was going on, it was a little bit overwhelming, and I really needed to retreat. So that's what I've done. But I'm back. And I'm so excited for 2020, I can't even tell you. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you very, very much. I'm extremely grateful for all of you. That's what I was going to say. When you're recording videos and you're saying the same thing over and over again, it starts to feel less authentic. To me anyway. So knowing that I had 12 videos to do, and that I wanted to kind of express this to you all, I wanted to do it once in the spirit that I feel it, without it just becoming a kind of repetitive thing that I'm saying over and over again and starts to lose its feeling over time. So that's what I've done, and it'll only be for this month. Next month it'll be back to usual blather. Yeah, on with your reading. So, Sun, Moon and Ascendant Libra. Here we go. I hope you're all well, and if you did sit and listen to me wittering in the message before, thank you very much. I appreciate it. If not, no problem. So, let's just give these a little shuffle and then see where we're at. That's good. Right. Okay. Sun, Moon and Ascendant Libra, the month of January 2020. So, I've got the Nine of Cups, that's water energy. It talks about wish fulfillment, which is nice. 2 more cards for Libra, please. That's nice. We've got the Star, that's a card of Aquarius in the Major Arcana. Air energy, so like you. 1 more card for Libra, please. For half a dozen, tried to jump out there, but only one. Page of Pentacles, love it. It's Earth energy. Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. But I don't think the sign matters at the moment. On the bottom of the deck, we've got the Two of Swords. It talks about needing to make a choice, an intellectual choice, I feel. So entirely appropriate that it would come up for you as air signs. Oh my God, I'm covered in so much dog hair. My dog, I love him, but really why a goth decided to get a white dog, I don't know. It's the absolute bane of my existence. Dog fluff. And he has more than most. If you've seen an intro video that I did that's on my channel, you'll see why. He's just a giant ball of fluff. Right, I'm using the Marigold deck to clarify. My son bought me this for Christmas, and bless him. I'd never even heard of it, but it's absolutely phenomenal and perfect for me. Go, my boy. Right, there's a Nine of Cups here for Libra, please. Ace of Rings. It's been coming up a lot, actually, in readings. That's Earth energy. Again, it talks about a new start in something. But we'll get to it. There's the Nine of Cups here for Libra. There's the Nine of Cups here for Libra. Queen of Swords, that's you. It turned sideways as I was shuffling, so I felt the need to have a look at it and see what it is. But that is Libra. Not just the Air Queen, but Libra. So that tells me that you're very much involved in this reading, which I like. It's always good. Oh, how am I? Why is the Nine of Cups here for Libra? Lord, that's gone right over there. Bear with me, I'll back this up. It's the Seven of Wands. Fire energy. Proper flew across the room as well. Right, why is the Star here for Libra, please? Strength. Nice. Star for Libra. An awful lot of flippers in here, but nothing jumping. And I cannot even see what flip now. Queen of Swords again. Okay. Nice Star here. It's I've got the World. It talks about ends of cycles, which is wicked because you've got an Ace as well. Got endings and beginnings, and the Page, which for me is also start of new beginnings. Why is the Page of Pentacles here? Judgment. Interesting. Scorpio for me personally. Why is the Page of Pentacles here, please, for Libra? That one. Six of Swords. Oh, I like this combination. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Rings, which is the Page of Pentacles in this deck. There's some very solid energy here, Libra. I like it very much. So, right. The first card you've got is the Nine of Cups, and like I said, that's water energy. And it's got a woman sat in a wood. Yeah, she sat there quite happily, surrounded by 9 cups. And as we know, the cups in tarot talk about emotions and feelings, all that kind of thing. And 9 is quite a high number in the tarot. It's only, superseded by the 10. But as I'm looking at this, the thing that I'm really noticing, which is really bizarre because I've had this deck for quite a while now and I've never noticed it before, is this little waterfall at the side of the card and the water going around. Some of the cups are actually sat in the water and some of them are set back upon the bank. Look at that. I can't believe I've never noticed that before. So this is important. This is a very emotional position. So the tarot runs from the ace through to the 10. And when you get to the 10, that's the end of a cycle and you go back to an ace. But you're constantly building because, if you're doing life properly, then you're progressing through the ace to the 10. And then once you've done that, you start again with something new, but you bring the lessons of what you've learned with you. So this is in your, recent past position. And it's a really strong opening card because it means you're really very close to what you've always wanted. And it's a very comfortable position that she's in. I mean, like some of these cups are submerged and I feel like this is saying at some point, like you have felt a little bit swamped by the feelings that you've got. But at this point, the point that this card indicates, you are sat back out of the water, quite comfortable in the vicinity of it, but it's not a deluge and it's not getting your feet wet. And you're very content with where you are. And the B on this cup, on this card right here, this kind of makes me think of work. Bees are very industrious, so it's something that you've been putting some effort into, and that might be your job. It might be, but this level of emotional satisfaction doesn't usually come from something that you view as your 9 to 5. So it's maybe a project or something that you've been working on potentially. There's been some difficulties, but broadly you're very happy with where you are at the moment, where you're sitting. And the 2 cards that came out to clarify were the Ace of Rings, which is the Ace of Pentacles, and the 7 of Wands. That's the one that flew across the room, if you remember. I'm going to have to move this phoenix, I keep getting stuck on it. There we go, just sit there. Thank you. So like I said, everything starts at the Ace. The Ace is the infinite potential of everything and nothing, contained all in one concept, where nothing exists, everything is possible. And that's kind of the energy of the Ace, right? But it's in some ways slightly intangible because it's an opportunity that is proffered forwards. And unless you take it and you do something with it, it's not going to take root by itself. It's the seed of the suit. It's possibility, potential, opportunity, right? But everyone has free will and you can ignore those things and not do anything with it. I think this hand is in a mudra, but I don't know which one that one means. It's like that. Yeah. So, it's something, whatever this wish fulfillment is that's in your recent past, it's something that you started by yourself. And it's something that's now starting to give you a great deal of emotional satisfaction. You ran with it. I'm drawn to this eye, which has a name and I completely forget it, but looking at the imagery, there's a little teardrop underneath it there, like Feels like there was a level of vulnerability involved in whatever you started, and it was slightly harder than you'd given credit to it being. But you did it. Quite certain you did it. God, I wish I knew what that mudra meant. I might look it up after this video. And then we've got the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands is usually a card of being defensive, feeling defensive, and that can be of yourself, of your feelings, of other people, perhaps, even of your values, something, you know, as abstract as that. But I feel like, because this came out with the Ace of Rings, I feel like this is a protective feeling that you have about your project, this thing that is now bringing you great fulfillment. Because these kind of branchy, feathery, planty things that are coming off the central ring that looks to me like an Ace of Pentacles, they're very soft, you know, but they are there. It's not like standard depictions of the Seven of Wands where it's somebody stood, you know, ready to fight, staff in hand, you know, and they're being attacked by assailants. There's no notion of attack in this card, but soft, gentle protectiveness of it. So perhaps you are anticipating being attacked for your project, but in the end it hasn't really happened. And so you've been able to relax a little bit about it, and as you've relaxed, so you've begun to enjoy it more, and it's become more emotionally fulfilling to you. How beautiful. I love that. It's excellent. The next card you've got is the Star. Like I said, that's a card of Aquarius, and it's air energy, just like you. But in this card, you're not the star, right? The star is what you follow. You are this woman down here. And it's a card of great healing, but it's also a card of balance, and which is, you know, important for a Libra. But it's also a card of vulnerability, because this is kind of tying your colours to a mast, is what I've just heard. Yeah. There's something about this that left you feeling quite exposed. I feel like this project's very personal to you. I'm going to take it as it resonates to you. I don't know your details. But you followed your star. You know, you had an idea, you had a plan, and you went along with it. And it's actually, it's had quite a profound effect on you. There's quite an emotional reaction that I'm feeling from here. It's like a stripping off of layers. You know, obviously with vulnerability, you would need to strip off layers. But I think that exposure was something that you hadn't anticipated occurring before you got stuck into whatever it is that you're doing. There's a lot of hope and faith implied by this card, but there's the still water, which I like. And yeah, stripping away of layers and throwing yourself open to being guided, and following your gut as well. I love it. The two cards that you had that came out to clarify are Strength and the World. Right? So this is the card of Leo here in the Major Arcana, and this is the card of the 4 fixed signs. So Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus and Leo again. So it's possible that a Leo was important in the setting up of this, but it doesn't have to be. And I feel broadly actually that it's not particularly relevant. Oh, I love this deck so much. My son did so well. Now, this Strength card's unlike any other that I've ever seen in any deck before. I'm actually probably going to do a video just on a flick through of this deck, because it's exquisite and everybody should know about it. The people that created it are amazing. I love them. Usually there's there's this notion of soft power that comes from the depiction of some great beast, whether it be a lion or a boar or, bear, something like that, and a woman taming that. And it comes to indicate soft power because it's not about, physically overpowering this beast. It's about taming it with love and care and nurturing, so that the notion of attack or any kind of predatory behavior does not occur. It's taming an internal thing, and it's about strength of character. Yeah. This project that you've undertaken, that's led to this stripping of outer layers and an exposure of your inner core, which you were not comfortable with at some point, you're wearing very much more easily now, and it's starting to show on the outside. Perhaps you've had quite an increase in your level of confidence, and let's not forget this is a Leo card, and Leo is synonymous with confidence. But I feel like it's in the stripping away of these layers, it's actually allowed you to look at yourself. Look at this skeleton is gazing at this skull. And one can only assume that it's actually quite happy with what it sees, because, see, there are no muscles, there's no expression on the skeleton's face. But it's holding in its hand something of great worth. And I feel like this is your increase in confidence. This is your increase in your understanding of yourself and how you come across to the outside world, because I think it's something that you've probably had hidden away for a while. You become comfortable with it, become comfortable with yourself, and as a result, that's ended up with you kicking out an entirely different energy. I like that very much. And then we've got the world, right? And as well as depicting the 4 fixed signs, as I said before, this is the end of a cycle. It talks very specifically about the end of a cycle. The major arcana runs from the Fool at number 0, right through the Fool's journey, as it's called. All the major arcana before it gets to the world. And the world is, to the major arcana, what the 10 is to the minor arcana, right? So it's an ending. But because it's major, it's the ending of a big life cycle. It's like hitting a checkpoint, if you will, actually, is what it's like. Because you hit that checkpoint and you've achieved something, but you're not quite finished yet. Because when you hit the world, the next step is the Fool, right? You go from an ending straight into a beginning, but you take those lessons just like you do through the minor arcana, from the 0 to from the ace to the 10. You've got all those new things that you've learned about yourself and about the world, and ways in which you've changed and all that, and you start again with something new, with a fresh set of eyes. What I really like about this is that there's teeth in this circle. And this circle is comprised entirely of teeth, like there, growing through a cycle. The skull is the only thing that's white on this card, and everything else is gold. And I feel like the things that are depicted in gold are actually those things that you were concerned about. I mean, there's a bat at the top here, and bats and night times and all that kind of thing. We're talking about fears, and insubstantial compared to the skull. Like, if I hold it from here, the only thing that you can really perceive is the skull, which is you, as you sit in this world energy. There's a dagger above the eye, and there are all the teeth and stuff like that. But you've got 2 wands on the card too, and the bat. Like the Two of Wands is a crossroads. So you hit an ending and you are now at a crossroads. It's time to pick a direction. And maybe now is the time that you're looking to follow your star, because you're not entirely sure which way to go. You just know that you've hit a checkpoint of some description and now it's time to move forwards. But there's completion here. So whatever it is that you learned from whatever it is that you've been doing, you've leveled up as a result. And we go directly from the World to the Page of Pentacles, which for me is a card of new starts, because it's the lowest echelon. It's on the lowest echelon of the court hierarchy. It's starting right at the bottom. And although the Pentacles talk about resources, and so they can talk about money and all that kind of thing, increasingly for me, the Page of Pentacles is coming to indicate an understanding of the value of something. And that can be money. I mean, we can talk about it. But it feels often like it's a bit more than that. It feels like it's... Yeah, so what I've just heard is you have for a long time known the cost of everything and the value of less. This levelling up that you've done through the brave act that you undertook in starting whatever that was has somehow shifted your perspective, and it's given you an insight into those things that are valuable, and those can be fairly intangible, but you get it now. And I say it's a card of new starts because it's at the bottom. You've got to work your way through the Knight and the Queen and then the King before you reach the pinnacle of the suit. But this page is just starting his journey. He's not yet schooled in the ways of diplomatic relations between different suits and different kings and stuff like that, but he's here to learn. And he is the student. It's possible that you're thinking about taking up something new, not new exactly, something related to what you've been doing, some sort of training course or something. That's possible. But the sky's the limit with the page. He's here to learn everything that there is about his craft, about what it is that he's got, whatever this pentacle indicates to you. And then we've got Judgment and the Six of Swords, which is an interesting pairing. Judgment for me is the card of Scorpio. And so inherent within that is a natural assumption that there is a transformation. Right? Because Scorpio rules sex and death and creation and destruction. Right? Intense transformation. My laptop's trying to shut down and it's making lots of noise. I'm sorry about that. And there are lots of key phrases and stock interpretations that you can use for this card. But I don't feel any of them are appropriate right here. It's funny, I'm sure this combination of cards came out for Leo too, in slightly different places, but there nonetheless. Yeah, no, it was definitely Leo. The Six of Swords usually depicts a woman and a child in a boat, and they're looking very sad, and they're moving from choppy waters, or they're being, taken in a boat from choppy waters into calmer seas. This is quite a different depiction, right? Because in that original one, the Six Swords are in the boat. They're literally stuck in the boat, and it's moving away. Right, so you can interpret it as taking the things that you've learned, the experiences with you, but more often I tend to see them as taking the things that hurt you with you, things that people have said, difficult thought patterns that we have where we're quite mean to ourselves and stuff like that. And at some point that boat's going to spring a leak, and that will need to be dealt with at some point. So it's moving away from a situation, but it's taking those things that have wounded you about what you're leaving behind with you. I really like this depiction because there's no boat, there's no sadness, there's no, sad woman and sad child. There's just these. Okay? And we have 4 little knives, and we have that one hanging off the handle there, but what we've got is a tool here, a machete. It's cutting down things in your path. Another card for judgment, because I have a feeling I know where it's going, but I want to just make sure. Where's judgment here for Libra, please? Where's judgment here for Libra? 3 of Swords. How interesting. Right. At the bottom of the deck, the shadow card that we have here is the Wheel of Fortune. It's number 10. Right? That's about being protected. It turns up when there are forces at work that, just like most of the major arcana actually, but there are forces at work that you cannot yet perceive, but there's going to be an upswing in your fortunes, right? Bear that in mind. But when I've pulled for judgment, what I've got is 3 of Swords, the 5 of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles. So it seems to me that the interpretation here that we can apply to this is that despite you having come so very far, and you really have, internally and personally, with the way that you see yourself particularly, but then how that is extrapolating out into the world. Whatever new thing that you are thinking about, and let's not forget, we started with an ace. That was your original thing. That's the thing that's done all the things for you. But this is an ace as well. There's a branching out, there's an expansion of some point. There's some description that you're looking into. Perhaps a training course, perhaps something like that. You are concerned about people judging you for it. This figure at the front of the judgment card there is speared by arrows and is being pushed down, and has literally dropped to its knees. There's a certain level of fear implied here. And this fear is because you're looking to become more vulnerable, more open, right? And you're still expecting people to shoot you down, right? Which is going to wound you fairly mortally. Look at that swan, it's just... No, you're not the swan. You are the woman grieving over the swan. Look, the swan is dead, right? The swan is your project. This is what you're afraid of, right? People judging you, people shooting you down, grieving over the swan, over your project, or whatever it is. And then we've got the 5 of Pentacles, which is about poverty and lack, or a fear of poverty and lack, and abandonment, and being left out in the cold, being isolated with these things. And then we've got the Knight of Pentacles, which talks about very, very slow movement, but it is a step up from the page. So, whatever it is that you're thinking about doing, you need to do it. Right? You do, because we've got progression here. We've got page to knight. These fears that you have are ungrounded. They're baseless. They are your brain trying to talk you out of doing something because you're panicking about it ever so slightly. Right? And this isn't a flashy knight, this one. Like it's not, it's not the Knight of Wands, it's not the Knight of Swords. It's not fast energy. And it doesn't have the, the stylish presence of the Knight of Cups, if you will. But this is the knight that you would entrust a job to if you wanted to see it done through to its completion, over and above all the other knights. So it may not happen as fast as you want it to, and you may be feeling this may be the thing that starts you trying to talk yourself out of whatever it is that you're thinking about doing. But use your tool. Strike down those things that are in your way, because you're actually onto a fairly winning set of cards here, and a winning path more than anything else. I feel like the Two of Swords that came out at the beginning of the reading was you overthinking this situation here. Whatever this means to you, this Page of Pentacles, this new direction, this expansion, this possible new training, all that kind of thing. And that's fear talking, nothing else. Right? Look back on what you've achieved already. This is just a small step. The page is a small step, and it's a small step from the page to the knight. Just plod away at this. Keep doing it gently. Don't expect, lightning bolts and stuff like that, because that's not coming. Because the process, the journey, is as much what you're here to learn as going off and doing this in the first place, right? Respect the process, because the universe has got your back right here, right? Directly underneath that, we've got the Ten of Wands and the Nine of Swords, right? It's going to feel like hard work, and you are going to worry that you're not doing the right thing, but the Wheel of Fortune's here. You are doing the right thing. Utilize this. You are Libra, quite used to, wielding a sword. This isn't a sword, it's a machete. This is not for running people through. This is not for cutting people down. This is for clearing, bamboo, jungle, whatever it is that's in your way. Use it. Clear yourself slowly and methodically a path forwards. Right. How interesting. Libra, I'm going to leave it there. If it resonated with you, I'd love it if you'd let me know. But failing that, I'll see you in about a week or so for the mid-months. Okay. Oh, and Happy New Year if I haven't already said that. Okay, take care.